Hi, I'm Anne-Marie Medaway.
I'm Teddy Wilson.
And I'm Michelle Jobin.
And welcome to CTV Your Morning, the podcast, and welcome to Teddy. And to Michelle, we are recording in the summertime. Linz and Kels are away, so it's great to have you both here for this.
Great to be here.
Great to be here.
If you are listening, you can also watch, and you'll find us on YouTube, and you can watch us on Crave, and you'll want to. We have a fascinating show today, and podcast today. Show, I'm so used to saying, but podcast today.
Yeah.
Listen, this interview was remarkable. It's a test that you can access now. Not everybody has access to it, so you'll find out who and how. But in it, you can find a protein that can detect whether or not you are likely to develop Alzheimer's.
That's incredible.
So we'll speak with the research lead. It's Dr. Rachel Buckley, and she'll have more information for us. Also coming up, one of our favorites, Dan Riskin, who you both know very well. So Dan, during the pandemic, developed a hobby, like a lot of people, but his was birding. We know him from bats. Now he's gotten into birding. He's going to tell us how you can also get involved and find out how you can explore the world of birds around you.
Well, from the natural world, we'll also verge into the world of mathematics as well. And we had a really, really fascinating guest on today's episode. We'll be joined by Jacob Tsimerman, who is a professor from the University of Toronto, who was awarded what is often referred to as the Nobel Prize of Mathematics.
Cool.
If you can imagine that. Lindsay had a great chat with him. It's called the Fields Medal, and he's the first mathematician based at a Canadian university that has actually been awarded this medal. He had lots of insight to share with us.
It's a fascinating interview. Lindsay had a really great chat with him. And, you know, I was asking him backstage because I don't know anything about math, but I love movies. And so I asked him, you know, in the movie A Beautiful Mind about John Forbes Nash Jr. with Russell Crowe, there's a scene where a mathematician wins, I believe it's the Nobel Prize of Math, and they all come over and give him a pen. And it seems like, oh, this is a tradition that happens. I asked him if it was true. He said, absolutely not. It's just for the movies. The scarf that a character wears in Good Will Hunting, who wins the Fields Medal. You think, oh, everybody gets this scarf who wins the Fields Medal. He said, same thing, just a conceit for the movies. So it was fascinating to talk to him about like the real side of that august level of math.
Yeah, I think people really enjoy that. And we had a very different conversation that we're also going to feature today on today's episode, which involves another Canadian professor. Her name is Ketra Schmitt. She's an associate professor at Concordia University, and she's going to discuss the current state of deadly autonomous technology and what guardrails might be in place or should be in place at this time to keep them from going rogue, and whether they can go far enough.
Yeah, no, it's an important conversation to have. Also important, especially if you work on a morning show, is sleep. We're going to catch up with sleep expert Amanda Jewson, and she's going to tell us, you know, there are a lot of fads and different trends online and social media about how you can sleep better.
Yeah.
This one, though, goes back to the 1920s in Japan. It's called Mokan Undo. So she took a video kind of demonstrating it. We're going to dig into it a little bit, talk about it, and I'm going to ask her, you know, if it actually works. Do either of you doing a morning show, do you have a sleep trick that you use to help you fall asleep?
Yeah, I mean, I fall asleep pretty easily, which I'm very fortunate to do.
Good.
But one of the things that helps me is I flip on a show that I don't necessarily have to follow.
Oh.
Yeah, like I call it a sleep show.
Sleep show.
And I throw it on, and I think what it does is it allows my brain to detach from thinking about like what has to happen in the show or at home, and just attach to one thing, and then I just power down.
Oh, I love that. Do you have a trick?
I do. And that's also a good one. I do have another one, but I believe that Amanda discusses it in the segment with you. So I'm going to leave that there, but I'm going to say it works for me.
That's what they call a tease in the business, I believe.
It is, I believe, yes.
I love that. So it's a really interesting conversation. But before that, and first up, you know, we're talking a lot about AI, about artificial intelligence these days. You mentioned a segment we'll have on the podcast as well. This is a very different type of AI-related segment, and it has to do with seniors and the potential for AI companions to help with loneliness. Here's that conversation now. So artificial intelligence obviously triggering a lot of news headlines these days, both the positive and negative, including in that last segment. But we're going to turn your attention now to something a bit more optimistic vis-a-vis AI, and that is the use of artificial intelligence to potentially help people combat loneliness, especially seniors. Joining us now to talk about AI companions and the potential benefits they could provide is Dr. Alison Sekuler, President and Chief Scientist of the Center for Aging and Brain Health Innovation. Lovely to have you here.
Hi. Thanks, Teddy. Nice to be here.
Chat with you. And so there's so much we could talk to you about in this realm. Let's start specifically, though. You're one of the leading authorities on aging and brain health. So in terms of like loneliness and the impact on older adults, both physical health and cognitively, what are the negative impacts that we can see over time with the senior?
Yeah, so it's interesting because people often think of loneliness as being sort of an emotional issue.
Right.
But it's actually also a physical issue. People have compared the longevity effects, if you will, of loneliness, chronic loneliness, to smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Really?
It can change your lifespan by that much.
Wow.
And we now also know that chronic loneliness can increase your risk for heart disease, for stroke, for depression, and for dementia.
Right.
And in terms of how that's linked into your mental health, your cognitive health, if you think about what loneliness is doing, it's actually, it can increase the inflammation throughout your entire body, including your brain.
I didn't know that.
And it also can impact your sleep. It can lead to increased risk, as I said before, of depression, and it can decrease your physical activity. And all of those sorts of things are also risk factors for dementia. So it's got this sort of wide-ranging whole body sort of influence and can really impact you in all sorts of ways.
Yeah, that's interesting, especially the physical side. I never thought about that as much in terms of loneliness. Obviously, we all interact with AI, most of us probably on a daily basis now in different ways. But in terms of AI companionship for seniors, how does it work? What do these companions look like, and what are the potential benefits?
Yeah, they can look like almost anything. There's one of my favorites is called LEQ.
Okay.
And I'll say she because she's got like a nice little female voice. She's a robot. She sits on the table about this tall. Doesn't have a real face like a human face, but actually looks almost like a bunch of rings. And when she talks, you can sort of see the rings moving, and she'll interact with you, and she gets to know a single person.
Okay.
And so she might say, you know, hey, Teddy, how are you doing? And I lived with her for a while when I was traveling, just sort of testing her out.
How'd it go?
It was amazing. I would come back from a conference, and she'd greet me in the evening. She'd be like, Allison, nice to see you. Would you like to hear some music? And she knew what kind of music I liked. And, and when I had to put her into the box to give her back to the company, I felt like I was murdering this poor little robot. But but what she also does is she will initiate conversations with people when they're lonely, and she'll remind you to take your medication. She can connect you with your friends and family when they send a new picture. She can urge you to go for a walk or to go play bridge or whatever. So she's keeping you connected and engaging you in conversation. And then for people who are already living with dementia, there's another company called Amical out of Quebec, which is sort of like a phone that you can pick up, and an AI agent will have a conversation with you. But again, it's personalized for you. So it will know who you are. And so it's a way of helping people connect, even if they don't have other folks that they can be around.
Yeah, it's interesting. I can see a lot of benefits there. Obviously, with AI now, when we talk about it, though, there are a lot of concerns, and many of them very valid and fair about AI. So right away, when we talk about like seniors or elderly folks and AI companions, I'm sure, like a lot of viewers, my mind goes to concern about privacy and data, and then also just, you know, maybe that interaction with an AI companion replacing potential human interaction, which over time could be a net negative. So what sort of guardrails are in place, or just things overall to address the concerns here?
Yeah, I like to think about AI as supplementing what we're normally doing. I don't think right now AI, at least where we are right now, it's not replacing proper human communication and proper human interaction. LEQ can't give you a hug. Right? So there's nothing like that. And we have to be very, very clear that people understand, because these are becoming more and more real sounding, right? So when you're picking up Amical, it'll sound like you're talking to a real person. And we don't want people to get a little bit confused about that. So there needs to be real clarity in understanding. But I think if we use AI in the right way, it has so much potential to help people who are at risk for and living with dementia.
Do you have any concerns though, about the privacy and the data side in terms of seniors in particular?
I mean, so the companies that we work with, we make sure that all of those issues are really addressed. And one of the things that we do at the Center for Aging, Brain Health Innovation, or CABI, is we ensure that all of our innovators are working directly initially with end users. So people, the families, the people living with dementia or at risk for dementia, caregivers and so on, so that when they're designing the different products, they know how to address the privacy issues, how to address the data issues. So when we were testing LEQ way back at the beginning, we actually did a lot of work with them so that people could make sure that they understood how the AI was working, how the data was working, and that they would make better use of it.
Got it. Well, it's fascinating stuff. Really appreciate you being here, shining a light on this. Could talk to you for hours. It's really, really interesting. Dr. Alison Sekuler, President and Chief Scientist of the Center for Aging and Brain Health Innovation.
A professor from the University of Toronto is being recognized with what often called the Nobel Prize of Mathematics. Jacob Tsimerman is the second Canadian ever to win the Fields Medal. This is major. It is considered the top global honor in mathematics. He won it for his work involving what's known as the André-Oort conjecture. Hope I got that right. Jacob is now joining us in studio. First off, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
This is such an honor. I mean, you're only the second Canadian to do this. How are you feeling about everything?
It's been a lot. It's been really nice to celebrate sort of friends who met me down in Philadelphia, where the ceremony was. It's been kind of a whirlwind so far, just looking to calm things down a bit since then.
How did they tell you that you won? Do they call you? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I got a phone call back in January, so it's been a long time, and they ask you to keep it secret until then while they prepare a whole bunch of information and materials and stuff. So that part's also kind of tough, hiding something from, so many people that I would want to share it with.
How long did you have to hold it for? So they called you in when you said January?
January. It's been about 6 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I've slowly been telling people, but mostly keeping it under wraps.
Let's talk about the work that won you this prize. This is your work involving the André-Oort conjecture. Obviously, for me, I don't know what's going on. This is a complicated concept, but can you try to explain it to somebody like me?
Sure. Math can be hard to sort of just jump into cold turkey because it's built on so much background you got to learn. Just to learn the word, the language that we use. But basically, it's something that takes number theoretic phenomenon, so equations and whole numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we find geometric explanations for various things that are interesting. That's kind of it in a nutshell.
What interested you about the work?
I've been working on it for about 15 years or so, and kind of in bits and pieces, not sort of the whole thing at once. We'd find some little component of it, and we'd work on that and get some success, and then move on to something else. One thing which is nice about it, like a lot of math, is that it links a bunch of different subjects together. There's sort of an algebraic geometry perspective on it. There's something called logic that comes into play. So it's fun when you have a bunch of little ingredients that you can sort of play with.
So now what? I mean, you've won the award. The work is done. Where do you go from here with this work that you've been working on for 15 years?
Well, math has no shortage of questions. So once you've done one thing, it usually opens up a whole bunch of other possibilities. So there's tons of follow-ups that me and my collaborators have been working on. There's something called the Zilberpink conjecture. That's another thing you can jump to. There's relations to physics, relations to sort of other kind of what's called non-abelian geometry. So there's all sorts of places one can go.
Math is like my 7-year-old who just doesn't stop asking questions, which is great, right? When you think back to when you were a kid, what was life like for you in math class? Was that easy? Did you have to work hard at it? Did you know that's something you wanted to do?
Yeah, I knew that math was something I was into for as long as I can remember. I've always really liked it. When I was a kid, I was doing some advanced math, and because math is so structured, you can sort of jump to wherever is fun and natural for you in the process. So I was always challenged by math class because I was always doing sort of math at my level. It was fun. There's one thing when you're a kid is there's so much more to learn. You're mostly learning what other people have done, and it's nice because there's always something to engage with. And then when you start researching math, you kind of slow down a bit and spend a long time just doing one particular piece.
That is so interesting what you just said. You're researching and you're learning what other people have done, and you are now in the position where you have created something that other people are going to learn from. That's got to be a really cool space to live in.
Yeah, it's really fun.
What does your family think about all this?
They're supportive. I think it's great. They do a bunch of different things, but I try to explain, if not the details, sort of the overarching structure of what I do and sort of what's important and what connects to what else.
What's also interesting about what you've done is that after you won the award, you're like, okay, bye, I'm moving to a different career now. Is that what's happening? You're going to work for OpenAI?
Well, I'm staying a faculty member at U of T.
You are, okay.
Yeah, I'm going on leave, and I'll be working at OpenAI on AI safety, which I think is a very important problem that I wish more people would go to work on.
We're so glad that you're going to be one of the people working on that. Side note for everyone at home, when Jacob sat down and I was like, hey, this must make a lot of sense to you behind me, he's like, this makes no sense. It's a bunch of fragmented thing. I was like, this is math, right? He's like, sort of, right?
It looks pretty, though.
It looks pretty, which is all that matters. All right, Jacob, congratulations. We can't wait to see what you do from here. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you so much.
If you've been thinking about picking up a new hobby, I have a suggestion for you. Bird watching. It started gaining momentum around the pandemic. It has not showed any signs of slowing down. So, what do you need to know before you head out? Well, this morning we are checking in with our favorite bird nerd, And I do say that with the deepest amount of respect. CTV science and technology specialist, Dan Riskin. Look, we're being watched.
I know. It's funny because you say bird nerd and then you say I mean it with respect. And people might think it's the nerd part of that is weird, but it's actually the bird part because I'm a bat guy. And so I was late to the bird game, but now that I'm kind of into it, I really dig the birds.
Yeah, we know about your research into bats, but what got you into birding?
You know what? Pandemic was a big part of it. I had a little bit of time on my hands owing to the world shutting down. But when I was doing my PhD and I was doing my research, I was so focused on making sure I didn't drop the ball on the bats that when my friends would be like, let's go look at some birds, I would be like, I'd love to, but I can't fit it in my brain. I got to do bats.
Okay.
And so I kind of shunned it, and now I really regret it. I mean, I was at Cornell, and the Cornell Lab of Ornithology is like the mecca for this birding stuff. And so I was surrounded by all these people who now I'm looking at them on social media and seeing what they're doing and realizing how much I missed out. So I'm just playing catch up.
Okay, but you do this as a family event.
Yep.
Which I love to hear. Kelsey was telling a story earlier about how when you guys were out watching the eclipse, you had your whole family out there birding.
Yeah, took the whole family out there. I mean, anytime you're in an outdoor area, it's just like a really great distraction. And the thing is, you don't have to be the world expert on birds to enjoy it. You just get out there and look for what you can see. These are pictures that I've taken. You know, that's an osprey. I think most people know what an osprey is. But every once in a while, you see one carrying a fish. And it's just, you feel like you're right in nature. And when I went to Australia...
This is your photo?
Yeah, I took that picture in Australia. I mean, to be fair, the thing landed at the bird feeder at our Airbnb.
Wow.
So that's called a rainbow lorikeet. Australia is ridiculous, I mean, in terms of their birds. But there are beautiful birds here as well. Okay. And all it takes is just being curious and paying attention.
Talk to me about equipment. You've got binoculars here. These look pretty fancy.
They do look fancy, but they're not as fancy as it used to be. It used to be that you had to pay like thousands of dollars to get decent binoculars. Okay. Now, the glass manufacturing technology has improved. So it's a few hundred to get really good binoculars. Yeah. These are, I mean, it doesn't matter what brand.
Can I try them?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
But they're great. You can do that with the binoculars. But really, I think one of the key things is to have. You're looking good there. What do you see?
Well, right now, a very blurry version of you.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah.
But I can see your special guest you brought into the studio.
Yeah, you can see all the people in the studio. Yeah, okay, good. So the real key though is your phone. Now. Normally, your phone sort of takes you out of nature and makes it worse, but there's an app for your phone called Merlin.
Yes.
Get Merlin. It's free, it's amazing, and it's like Shazam for birds. And so when you go for a walk in the ravine, you just hit the green button, and it shows you a picture of the bird you're hearing, so you can then say, really, is that what I'm hearing? And then you can try to find it.
And it gives you all the information about them.
Yeah, all the information. I mean, then you can follow up. Really, when you're in the moment, you're just trying to figure out what is that. But if you hear a bird going by, you push the button and you hear it. And so there are different birds, especially like for me right here in Toronto, but anywhere in Canada. And if you're traveling,
you just anywhere.
You find out. So I was in BC just last week.
Yeah.
I was just minding my own business, and then I could hear birds, but I didn't recognize them. I hit the green button, and then it said, well, that's a lazuli bunting. And I was like, well, are you kidding me?
What is a lazuli bunting?
It's this beautiful bird. I think I have a video of it. They might be able to pull this up, but it's this beautiful bird. Oh yeah, there it is. It's not great lighting. This is my video, but you can see the blue on the head.
Wow. And this is yours.
I just shot this like last week. And I never would have noticed this bird if it hadn't have been for the app that was like, go look for the blue bird that's making this subtle noise. And so that's a beautiful bird I've never seen out east. But
is this on your phone?
No, this is with my big long lens on my good camera. But nonetheless, it's a bird that was hiding from me that I was only able to find because Merlin helped me pay attention. So get the app.
Yep.
Don't worry about being the world expert on things. Okay. It's very introductory friendly, and it's a lot of fun.
Okay. I have two questions left for you. One, time of day. You're a bat guy, so you're used to looking at things at night. But is there a better time of day? And two, there are rules of etiquette around birding that you need to be aware of.
Yeah, okay, so time of day, morning is better. If you're not a morning person, that's okay, go out later in the day. But you will hear more birds if you go out first thing in the morning. And then in terms of etiquette, I mean, be a good person, be kind, don't make a lot of noise when people are looking at a bird near you. But the other thing that's kind of fun with bird people, if it's an owl or something spectacular like that, don't broadcast its location on social media. I mean, you can post it, but be vague about where you saw it, right? Don't say like, hey, here's the coordinates for where there's an owl, because you'll get everybody and their dog coming to see this owl, and it'll get scared away and it ruins it for everyone. So there's a little bit of an etiquette that way, that if you find something really good, you got to be kind of subtle about where you're finding it. Oh yeah, that's my favorite picture of an osprey pooping. I'm so proud of this picture. I mean, the osprey catching a fish
You
is
brought
great.
your son in with you today, and he's having a good hard laugh
at
this bird pooping photo.
That's the point. I mean, if you're not laughing, you're doing it wrong. It's got to be fun, right? Whatever turns you on. That's what I say.
All right. CTV Science and Technology Specialist Dan Riskin, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
This is Your Morning, the podcast, where we bring you some of the best conversations from our show every week. Join us live on CTV every weekday, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern, 7 to 10 a.m. Atlantic on CTV, CTV News Channel, and on Crave.
There is a blood test that could determine your risk level for developing Alzheimer's up to a decade before symptoms appear. New research found a specific protein could hold clues as to whether someone will experience cognitive decline later in life. It is a potential breakthrough for a disease that currently has no cure. Joining us now is neuroscientist and lead author of the new research, Dr. Rachel Buckley. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
This is very exciting. The protein that your research looked at is known as pTau217. What is the connection between that protein and the potential to develop Alzheimer's?
Yeah, so pTau217 is a fascinating little marker in the blood. We think it's a really good marker of the Alzheimer's disease that's happening in the brain, actually. It's funny because it has the name tau, but what we know about it so far is that it's actually associated with the amount of amyloid in the brain. It's one of those hallmark pathologies that we know occurs really early on in Alzheimer's disease. And what we wanted to ask in our study was, what does this marker in the blood tell us about later life cognitive impairment?
So the new findings, as I understand them, found that older adults who had very high levels of the protein had a 38% risk of developing cognitive impairment over 5 years. And then that risk grows to 78% over a decade. In Canada, I understand clinics offer blood tests for the protein, but does your research suggest that everybody should get one or only specific people?
It's a great question. So right now, the pTau217 blood test is available, but only for patients who already have cognitive symptoms. So we know that right now that there are some drugs available that are able to treat and clear amyloid in the brain, but those are in patients with cognitive symptoms. What our question was really interested in asking was, what about those people just living in the community right now who don't have cognitive symptoms but may have lots of amyloid in the brain? Can we tell something about them using these blood tests of pTau217, and can that inform likelihood of risk over that 5 or 10-year period that you mentioned?
Dr. Buckley, I want to ask you quickly what some of those symptoms would be if somebody's at home thinking maybe this is a test that I should go and get. What should they be considering?
So right now, we do not recommend going out to get a blood test of pTau217 just yet. The reason is because right now, if a doctor saw someone in the clinic and they had no cognitive symptoms, the pTau217 wouldn't give them any different recommendations. They would still tell you, be active, have a good diet, get good sleep, all of those good things. What's good for the heart is good for the brain. Right now, we do not have treatments, but I'm hopeful and very optimistic that over the next 12 to 18 months, that story is going to change. We have prevention trials as we speak running right now in people who have elevated levels of amyloid in the brain but no cognitive symptoms. And what they're doing is trying to see whether we can actually clear away the disease really early. If we are able to see positive results on those trials, then these blood tests will be really important because they will help to detect and pick up those individuals early so that we can treat.
It does feel like a glimmer of hope to something that can feel very scary and very dark because there's so much we don't know about it still. We do know, though, that 750,000 Canadians live with Alzheimer's disease or another form of dementia right now. And as you said, there's no cure for it. But what medically can we offer those who find out they are at higher risk of developing the disease later in life?
Yeah, it's a great question. So right now, I definitely recommend for those people who do have cognitive symptoms, and if they haven't already gone to see their doctor, they should go see their healthcare provider. It's the first point of contact, and they will obviously put them through the pipeline of what things can be done to help to prevent or delay or slow. And right now, we do have some drugs available, at least in the United States, and I believe we just had really good news actually in Canada about lecanemab being finally approved. And so there will be treatments available to more Canadians, and those things will be offered in conjunction with other lifestyle-related changes. But certainly having those conversations early and often with a healthcare provider will be really important.
Dr. Buckley, it is so great to be able to bring a good news story, especially in the midst of the news cycle we're in right now. Thanks for coming on this morning.
Thank you so much.
The U.S. ban on imports of foreign-made humanoid robots comes as America looks to expand its own use of AI on the battlefield. What you're seeing here, we're going to show you right now. It's a video posted by Foundation. Now, Foundation's a company that is now designing humanoid robots for war. The trend raising concerns about what kinds of protections will be built into technology that is designed to kill. Joining me now is Ketra Schmitt. She's an associate professor in the Center for Engineering in Society at Concordia University. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a fascinating topic. I mean, officials in Ukraine recently revealed that the world's first battlefield death from a fully autonomous drone, that happened back in 2024. Obviously, that was 2 years ago. So where are we now with these lethal autonomous weapon systems?
So I think the important thing to realize is that there is, talking about AI systems now, autonomous weapon systems have been around for a while, as has the discussion about them. Ethicists are really on the same page about these, which is that we should not use them. We should not have autonomous weapon systems. However, many countries, as you say, are pursuing those. And I think...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I think the important thing to realize when we have AI systems is it actually gives us a good opportunity to think about the role of our own choices and decisions and what technology we deploy.
I want to show everybody a video now that was posted online by the technology company. I think it's called Anduril, and it shows some of its drones in action. So these companies that design these robots say this makes war more precise, according to them, by eliminating human error. They also point out that the technology comes with guardrails. So when I say that, and you hear that from these companies, what do you think?
So I think that in the long run, it is possible that we can create AI systems that are more precise. So we're seeing that, for example, with some things like self-driving cars, that there are many, many accidents. However, a recent study came out suggesting that Waymo is slightly safer in the study areas that were tested than human drivers. So I think it's possible with closed domain systems that we will have some better outcomes. The problem with doing that for weapons is that that becomes a real danger to humanity. I think in general, the discussions about AI systems taking over and being a risk to humanity are really overblown. And in some sense, that's a lot of marketing. So when large AI companies say that kind of thing, it kind of helps their stock price, helps investors get excited about their product. The line is don't give them weapons. That's where the risk comes in.
And it's challenging, right? When, if most people think that this may be an unethical approach, but then you've got a country doing it and they potentially, however you classify or categorize success on the battlefield, if they're having more success in that respect, at what point do you meet them where they're at?
That's a really good question. There's a lot of ethical theories that people use when we think about war. So just war theory and justice during war, so how people behave during war. There's some consideration of different ways that we can consider that. So human in the loop is a common way that we think about those systems. And if we look back at nuclear near misses for deploying nuclear weapons, what we see is there's often some interaction between some systems alert and human oversight. And the thing that worked really well for preventing nuclear launches is that some humans said, actually, I think this may be an error. The big difference between when we use AI systems is that many users find them to be authoritative and true. So they're less likely to be questioned. And in the way that they present the results, that's often done in a very certain way. So it becomes a little bit harder, especially if that human user is taking in AI interpreted outputs and then an AI suggestion on what to do. I think the chances of the human pushing back are not as good as they were in some of the scenarios in nuclear near misses.
I have so many more questions, but unfortunately we are out of time. We're just going to have you back. Ketra Schmitt, thank you for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, I love talking sleep and love getting it, though I'm not very good at it. And hey, Canada, do you use anything to help you sleep at night? Obviously, all sorts of sleep aids seem to be all the rage, especially up on social media. Everybody seems to be super into them. But what if I told you, my friends, a Japanese sleep trick from 1927 could be the answer to getting a good night's rest? Sleep expert Amanda Jewson is here now with more on this and more here on Your Morning. Good to see you. How did you sleep last night?
Great. I'm laughing at Sochmeads.
Sochmead, that's what I say.
I'm taking that on.
Yeah, you could use that.
Okay,
yeah.
done.
You sleep well last night? Everything
Always,
good?
always. I'm a great sleeper.
You know what I did last night? I had a bath, which was great, relaxing, had candles, it was lovely. Got in bed, looked at my phone, couldn't fall asleep for an hour and a half.
You ruined it.
I ruined everything. I ruined everything. Okay, so help me and help a lot of Canadians who maybe want to get more sleep. There's a sleep trick that's going viral on social media, and I know we have a bit of video of you trying this. So I know this is called Mokon Undo.
Correct.
Apparently a Japanese sleep trick, as I said, dating back to the 1920s. Look at you, that's fun. How does it work, and what the heck's going on?
So as I'm demonstrating here, you can't quite see the tops of my feet and hands here, but it's basically you're putting your hands up in the air, you're putting your feet up. Your feet ideally should be flat to the floor. Gently move them, just like I'm showing, to and fro. It doesn't have to be vigorous.
Yeah.
Just gently move to and fro like this for about 1 to 2 minutes.
Okay.
Slowly place the arms to the side.
Yeah.
Ideally, you could do this in bed if your bed is a flat surface.
There you are.
Or you're on the floor and then you move straight to bed and voila, you go to sleep.
Okay, you're an expert in this stuff. A lot of people are doing it online.
Yeah.
Obviously, if it goes back to the 20s in Japan. Does it work?
Yeah, so this is actually based, so the post itself, it draws on mysticism. It says an ancient trick, a 100-year-old trick. Science couldn't explain it. Well, science can explain it, which is great. I know.
Yay, science.
So in 1999, there was a study done on the heating of extremities. So our heat that goes to our hands and our feet.
Okay.
When those are warmed, it draws blood from the core. When your core is cooler, that's like a green light to fall asleep.
Okay.
Actually, the study showed it was the single highest predictor to falling asleep.
The highest predictor?
The highest, next to melatonin and self-reported tiredness. So this actually has really good science.
Okay.
The engineer behind it is a real person.
Okay.
So there is some realism to this. It does have good science, but there are actually, we don't have studies on this move specifically. We can apply that to the move. There are moves that do have science behind them, however.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some. And can you give us a bit of a demo? Let's start with progressive muscle relaxation.
I love it.
This is a real thing.
This is real.
This is real
Actually, a meta-analysis in February of this year of 2,000 people showed that it not only helped with sleep, but your mental health as well.
Oh my goodness,
which
great.
is amazing.
Yeah.
So we're going to start off by clenching. We'll start at the base of our body. We're going to clench our feet muscles for 5 seconds. We're going to breathe in.
Close my eyes too.
Yep. If you want, let's just really get into it.
Feet are
2,
clenched.
3, hold for 1, and exhale for 5, 4, 3. Excellent work. Good. Now we're going to move slowly, progressively up. Now we're going to do the calves.
I'm at my calves.
Hold. 2, 3, 4, and exhale. 2, 3, 4. So the science behind this is every time you're tensing a muscle and relaxing, you're releasing that muscle tension, which makes it hard to sleep.
Yeah.
And that excess oxygen tells your brain to relax, which is great for a revved up nervous system.
So it's all about different signals and everything,
Correct.
right? Yeah.
That's right.
What about one that I've seen online as well is like legs up against the wall.
Love it.
Does this work? Is this a thing?
This works.
Is that you?
No.
That's not you.
Unfortunately, no, I only do super embarrassing things.
And you wear green pajamas.
Correct,
exactly.
Yes. Okay. But yes, so this one, legs up on the wall, activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for rest and digest processes in your body. The inversion specifically works, and a 2020 study showed that it reduced, again, insomnia symptoms in women specifically. So lots of good data beside this.
That's great.
Yeah.
Obviously, as I said off the top, on social media, there's a lot of like viral sleep content. content. We all want to get a better night's sleep. What should we kind of keep in mind, and what lens should we, what critical lens should we view this content through? What should we think about when we're seeing this content online?
I love this question because I wanted to talk about this post specifically because of the language around it. It talked about, again, the engineer from 1927, ancient Japanese wisdom, other words that you should watch out for, things your doctor will never tell you. Science can't explain it. First of all, if your doctor's not telling you about it, it's probably because it's unsafe or it doesn't work.
Right.
If science hasn't figured it out, you don't want to be trying it.
Yes.
You don't want to be the guinea pig.
Yeah.
So
It
takes a quick Google, a visit to your doctor. If you have clinical insomnia, you need to see your doctor first.
Right.
Cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia is the gold standard, tons of data behind it.
Use that critical lens. Amanda
That's
Jusen,
right.
great to see you.
Yay,
Thanks so much for being here.
My
Have a good
pleasure.
night's sleep tonight.
Canadian Blood Services is making an urgent call for donations as blood supply dwindles. Right now, it's down by 20%. There are fewer donation appointments booked than expected in every province, and all blood types are needed. Joining us with more is Ryan Adams. He is the Director of Development and Recruitment at Canadian Blood Services. So, first of all, what does that mean? We're at 20%.
Yeah, so we manage a complex supply and inventory of blood across the country, right? So that means that we're matching patient need wherever you are in the country with the blood product that you need. And so when we see a 20% drop in inventory, that means across all of our blood types, the amount has gone down 20% over the last 6 or 7 weeks, so since the beginning of June.
And what's sort of our crisis bar here?
We're getting pretty serious about it. The reality is we're able to meet patient need today. So there isn't a patient in Canada that isn't getting the product they need today. But if this trend line continues, it's not sustainable. So we're flipping the narrative. We need folks to come through our doors and make that appointment.
Yeah. So what are the factors that you have been able to deduce that are reason for the shortage?
You know, the summer's always a tough time for us, right? It's vacations, routines change. We prepare and we plan for that. This is beyond what that is. And so the reasons, we're still unpacking what it is, but we're trying to focus on what we can do about it. And what we can do about it is welcoming Canadians into all of our donor centers.
Yeah, current appointments are also lagging, which is what you've mentioned. This is a real concern. Coming in between 1,500 and 2,500 under what you would normally expect at this time of year. So how does that compound the problem, and what can you do to try and balance it?
Yeah, it's funny, right? 1,500 appointments on a week doesn't sound that much on a scan of like 18,000, but when that problem compounds week over week, that gets us into the situation we're in now. So we're extending hours to all of our donor centers, we're adding days, we're getting more staff in to make sure we can meet Canadians who want to come through our door and make that appointment. Trying to get this back up. That 18,000 appointments on a week-to-week basis, that's our sweet spot where we can maintain inventory.
Ryan, if you aren't able to get people that are watching this morning in to donate, what happens?
Some tough choices will have to happen. I think, again, the important thing is we're meeting patient need today. So if you have a friend or a family member or a loved one who needs a blood product today, they're getting that blood. We want to make sure that that continues the way that it does. And it's very much within all of our control. And so that's the positive that comes out of this, is that we can turn this around really, really quickly. It just requires folks to give of themselves to join Canada's Lifeline.
And remind people how easy this is to do.
It's super easy. You can make an appointment online through our app. You walk through our door. Our staff are absolutely incredible. You get great snacks. 15 minutes, 30 minutes, you're in and out.
And is there, I know we mentioned you said you need all types, but is there a type in particular that you're really doing a shout out for?
Yeah, so the O blood types, those are universals. We always need those, but it quite sincerely is across every single blood type. That's what we're looking for folks to come through.
Okay, final message you want to leave with our viewers who are watching this morning?
Donating is incredibly powerful. You get something really, really patriotic of doing it, a sense of community, a sense of belonging, and you're helping your fellow Canadian. Please come on in.
Okay, Ryan, I want to thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
It is critical, so I appreciate you coming in.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for tuning in, whether you're watching or listening to today's episode.
Absolutely. And hey, if you want more of these great conversations, don't forget to hit download or hit subscribe to Your Morning, the podcast. It's available on all your favorite podcast platforms.
And of course, we'd also love for you to watch us live weekday mornings on CTV, CTV News Channel, and Crave. Start your morning with us.